Hey, and welcome back to another episode of The Chef's Table. I am Chef Evelyn. I am a culinary brand strategist that specializes in helping chefs create high-end culinary brands from scratch so they can charge premium prices so that they can live, cook, and work on their own terms. So listen, in today's video, I want to answer a question. I won't say that a lot of people ask me, but has come up often enough that I feel like I should address it in a video. Okay, it has come up with clients, it has come up, in the comments on social media, potential clients, things like that, conversations with other people, things like that. And so I want to get into 5 reasons why other chefs are charging more and getting it, and maybe why it's not doing what it needs to do for you. Okay, now first things first, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Okay, welcome to this little corner of the internet. I'm so glad that you decided to click on this video. And if you are returning, well, thank you for visiting me again. I think that means you have seen something or heard something that you enjoyed and you decided to come back for more. Okay, you were hungry for more. So welcome back. I'm so glad that you have decided to return and hang out with me again. So like I always say in most of my videos, so I guess always and most isn't the same thing, but like I say in most of my videos, if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes, because I value your time and I want to make sure that I give you everything in here that I meant to give you and everything that you came to get, right? So let me tell you, I think people think that the clients that I work with come to me and they have it all together, and that's that's actually not the case. Otherwise, if they had it all together, they would need me, right? So my clients come to me when they are like, listen, I've been where I've been at for X amount of time, or I'm about to start on this journey and I don't want to do it alone, or whatever the case may be, and they're trying to get to a specific destination, charging, more, creating a high-end culinary brand, add an additional revenue stream, you name it. That's kind of what we work on, right? But one of the things very early on with most of my clients that is something that we have to work through together is this kind of mental roadblock about, like, how am I going to be able to charge these premium prices that you're talking about, Evelyn, when there are other people who are seemingly doing the same thing that I'm doing or thinking about doing, and they're charging significantly less. Like, how am I going to compete with that? And here's the thing, and I've said this in previous videos, that when you have a high-end culinary brand, right, that easily commands premium prices, you're not really competing on price. And so those people and those brands that are competing on price, those are not really your competitors, because you're in a different category, right? That is a business model, to be competitive on price. It's just not a business model that I chose for myself, and that's not a business model that I teach. And the reason why I don't teach it is because I don't know how to do it. I know how to charge premium prices. Let me tell you, okay, this is a side note. I promise you I'm going to get into these 5 things. But like, one of the reasons why I realized like that I needed to teach other chefs how to charge premium prices is I didn't do well selling things at low cost. Like like I didn't do well selling things low ticket. I actually found it much easier to sell things at a higher price, right? And I think it's because, it felt better to me. I think it's because I knew that what my client or customer was going to get from me was going to be amazing, but I also knew that I was going to be compensated well. I think when I tried to sell things at a lower price point, I think I kind of was already like, regretting it, and like, just, all right, let me go ahead and do it. Like, you know what I mean? So it's funny, because when people ask me like, how did you get into the premium prices, is that I've always had a natural propensity to, even when I worked in jobs, to kind of go in and change things in a way where I could charge more. Like, people always ask me like, how did you meet your sales goals? And I'm like, I increased my price. I increased the prices. That's how I met the sales goals. Like, that's what I did. And then you throw some good marketing on top of that, it's a game over. Okay, but anyway, okay, so I said all that to say, like, I've been doing this for a very long time. Like, I was doing this in, you know, the culinary field before I was an entrepreneur. And then when I became an entrepreneur, I was like, I don't know why I tried to start with like bargain basement prices, because that, listen, it didn't last long. Okay, it did not last long. It did not work for me. It did not translate well. It did not sell well. But as soon as I increased them prices, baby, okay, anyway, and that's what I hope for you. So I hope that as you watch the videos that are in this playlist, there are several videos in this playlist. I mean, I think we're in the 60s, 70s, 80s at this point, videos in this playlist that that you will find this extremely valuable. Okay, so let's get into these 5 reasons why some chefs, food brands, culinary entrepreneurs can easily charge higher prices, and why it may not be doing for you what it's supposed to do. Okay, so the first thing is, and I'm just gonna come right out the gate, is that they believe that they can. They have no mental blocks or unbeliefs around the fact that they can charge premium prices. They're like, yeah, what I do is a premium service. I totally understand that. Since this is the premium service, I have to charge higher prices. Okay, so like, they don't struggle with whether or not people would people actually pay this. Can I actually charge that? Am I worth that? Like, they don't struggle with that. They 100% are like, yeah, like, and it's not even like, that's right, I'm gonna charge my worth. It's like a very calm and relaxed confidence, if you will. Like, I tell the story all the time about how I was at this workshop, right? It was a general business workshop, and the woman at the workshop was offering something from the stage for multiple 5 figures, right? Like, and I had been at other, you know, marketing and business conferences before and seen people offer things at a higher price point. And but it never felt good to me. Like, it always felt like very gimmicky or kind of just right. And so I was kind of turned off by it. But with this particular woman, like, she slid into her pitch so effortlessly. Like, her body language didn't change, her vocal intonation didn't change. Like, it was just like, it was very conversational, very easy, very all about that, right? And I remember watching her sell and go, yeah, I like that, right? Like, I was like, whatever that is, I want to know how to do that, right? And there was an energy about her that it was like, yeah, it's absolutely this price, like, no big deal, right? Like, and there were people who signed up, no big deal, right? And so I remember, you know, believing that I could charge premium prices, and knowing that I had done it for companies before, but needing to know that I could do it for myself. And so, yeah, that's what I did. And so I wanted to learn from her how to have that kind of effortless confidence. And so, you know, the people who are charging premium prices in their business, it's kind of effortless. It's not this amped up, hyped up, I've got to really dig down in my soul to believe. It's such a casual, laid back confidence that they have about their ability, or not just their ability to charge higher prices, but like, yeah, like that's just, it's like, it's just so factual, like they don't even think it's a thing, right? So that's the first thing. Okay, I would say the second thing is they really, really understand that the quality of their product or service is not the only factor in them charging higher prices. Okay, and you know, I will say this, I'm always going to tell you that you need to have a stellar product or service. I don't care if you're doing dinner parties, meal prep, catering, personal chefing, wedding cakes, food blogging, hosting events, health coaching, whatever you're doing, right? Like, I'm always going to say that what you actually do needs to be stellar. It needs to be top notch. Okay. With that being said, I know that when it comes to charging premium prices, that's not the only determining factor in being able to charge those prices. And I believe that the chefs who understand that, even if they can't verbalize it, they understand it intrinsically, that aids in that confidence, right? They know that, like, yes, what I'm providing you is going to be amazing. It's going to be, you know, the best quality I can give you. Also knowing that there's probably 500,000 other chefs out there who could give you something of quality. So I know that that can't be my only competitive advantage, if you will, right? So I think they know that it's more than just, do I have the prettiest plate, the best cooked piece of fish, right? You know, the most unique menu or the highest quality ingredients. I think all of those things are super important because the quality of your product or service has to be there, right? But I think there's more that goes into it than that. And one of the examples I love to give is if you are new here, then you may not know this, but I used to be a chemical and environmental engineer before I became a chef, right? So I used to work in corporate America before I went to culinary school. And working in corporate America, obviously you had your annual performance review. And you know, if you haven't worked in corporate America, then I'm going to share this with you. And one of the things that was on your, well, there was two sides. In general, with companies, there's two sides to your performance review. There's like your actual business side, right? Like whatever your actual job is. So, you know, I mean, we called it performance where I worked. People could call it productivity, sales, whatever, right? It's like, how well do you actually do your job, right? So if I was to relate that to business, that's the quality of what you do, right? How good of a cook are you? How great of a chef are you? How good at you are at taking pictures or creating video content or things like that? Like, how good are you at what people are paying you to do, right? And so the performance side was there, and you definitely got rated on that, right? But the other side of the performance review was about people skills. And when you really think about it, it was basically like, you know, what was your reputation like? How well did you get along with others in the workplace? You know, how did you influence people that you don't manage? All of these, how did you resolve conflict? All of these different things, right? Now, if you take that out of an employee context and you put that into a business context, now you're talking about it's the experience. So basically, at work, they're like, what is it like to work with you, right? Like, yes, you can be good at your job, but if you're a pain in the butt to work with, right? Like, nobody's going to want to work with you. Or if you're just blah to work with, right? Because some people are, you know, like... The classic phrase, and I was guilty of this at a time in my life, is like, I just want to come to work and do my job. I don't want to do all the other stuff. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your personality type, that's part of the work too. Like, a friend of mine and I, we did a whole video series on YouTube about like navigating corporate America. And we were like, yes, there's the performance part, but then there's like the reputation part, there's the relationship part. Like there's all these other factors that go into why people get promoted, right? Which is why somebody can be functioning at a B- level as far as performance wise, but still get promoted, is because the experience of working with them might be better than somebody who has A work, right? And so it's the same thing in business, that yes, your performance, the quality of your product or service is super important, but the thing that keeps people coming back to your business, the thing that enables you to charge higher prices, is because you have 100% on this brand experience, right? And let me be clear, a lot of people get good customer service confused with a great client experience, and I am here to tell you that good customer service is a piece of a great client experience, right? It is not in totality. First of all, good customer service is like a given. It's a benchmark. Like, don't even think about charging premium prices if your customer service is trash. Like, that's not even a conversation. So having good customer service is like a prerequisite to charging premium prices. What you need is a great client experience to do that. And a lot of people, a lot of chefs, we haven't been taught this about business, right? We just been taught like, your plate needs to be hot, and the plating and the height and the color and the odd numbers and all of these different things, right? And don't put inedible garnishes on the plate, and don't put parsley on the rim, and all of these different things, right? But it's also about the client's interaction with you as a company, as a brand, as a person, right? And so if you don't know what all of those different touch points are, what all those different interactions are, what all those different things are, that's one of the things that I walk through in my high-end culinary brand masterclass called How to Charge Premium Prices in Your Food Business. Is I've kind of mapped out, like a 7-part framework. I call it my dinner party framework, that goes through what those things are, so you can kind of see if you're firing on all cylinders. Okay, so the first reason that some chefs can charge higher prices and some struggle with that is because they absolutely believe that they can. Like, they just have this like calm confidence about it. And the second thing is that they completely understand that the quality of their product or their service or whatever they're selling is important, but it is only a piece of the pie. It's not the whole pie. And I've said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. Dare I say, it's not even the main thing. It's super important, but we have all worked with people that were like, they're mediocre at their job at best, yet they are out earning, being out promoted. Because listen, Maya Angelou has a quote, and I'm gonna butcher it because I don't have it completely memorized. It's basically like, you know, people will forget what you did or what you said, or in this case I'm gonna say you know, what they ate, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that brand experience is about how people feel engaging with your company. Okay, so let's go on to the third thing. Okay, well, I kind of I think I blended two together. That's fine. So if we have 4 instead of 5, I apologize. All right, so I'll fix it in the title. It'll be all good. Listen, sometimes, you know, like I have the note card, and sometimes I can't read my writing because I get so excited when I'm writing. Did I write something on the back? Oh, there it is. Okay, I was like, where's number 5? Okay. Listen, this is why I have a note card, because I have to remember what I wanted to tell you. Okay, let me look at my notes. Okay, number 1, number 2. So the next one is they are consistent in creating that high-end brand experience. Like, y'all, if y'all can see, my notes be so like rough, like but they are consistent, right? So a lot of times, you know, I read this quote once that said, like, people prefer intensity over consistency, right? That people will rather try to give you the sun, the moon, and the stars in like a 3-day sprint than to just be nice to you for like 6 months, right? And so, like, you know, I see some shit like they're trying to do 17 different things, and it's like, first of all, you're not gonna be able to maintain that, right? So I think when chefs are able to consistently charge higher prices is because they're consistently firing on all cylinders when it comes to that high-end brand experience, right? Like, you know, they have a well-documented process. They know what that is, and they hit on that nonstop. You know, like, come good day or bad day, they're cooking all burners, okay? You know, so it's not just, okay, yes, I've got to create this high-end brand experience. It's like, but I have to continuously and consistently execute this at a high level to be able to continuously charge high prices, right? Because one of the things I will never advocate for, and that's why I make sure to put this in almost every video, is that you can't just go out here and increase your prices just for the sake of increasing your prices, right? Like, you have to make sure that, yes, the quality of your product or service is in line with the price point that you're offering, but that the experience also matches the price point that you're offering. Because if you do not, you will create buyer's remorse, right? And the thing about buyer's remorse is that people won't tell you. Like, because buyer's remorse is different than like, I had a horrible experience. So it's kind of like, you know, you got hyped. Let's say you got hyped up to go to a movie, right? And like, you just had all these ideas about what was going to be in the movie and things like that, and you went to the movie and it wasn't a bad movie, it was just okay. Like, you weren't like, it wasn't like you went to the movie theater and the sound was bad and the theater smelled and, you know, people were talking through the movie and you couldn't hear. That's a bad experience, right? People complain when they've had a bad experience. What you typically don't get feedback on is when people had a meh experience, right? What they'll do is they just won't come back. What they'll do is they won't recommend you to anybody, right? You know, they won't have anything bad to say, but they won't have anything stellar to say. They'll be like, thanks, oh my God, you know, I had a great time, and that's it, right? Like, that's it. Okay, so, you know, they consistently execute this high-end brand experience, because I think sometimes people forget that everything isn't about like having a bad experience. If you have just a mundane, regular schmegular experience, Why am I paying premium prices for a regular schmegular experience? I want an exceptional experience with your company, okay? And here's the last thing that I want to talk about is that, and I want to tell you why some chefs are succeeding in a way, and you're just like, I don't understand how I'm not there. They're not doing it alone. They have help. And when I say they have help, I'm not talking about just like, you know, staff or team members to help them execute whatever it is they're doing, right? Whether they're catering or meal prepping and all that. Like, yes, they probably have help with that. I'm talking about they have help with the business side. Because here's the thing. Being a great chef doesn't make you a great entrepreneur. And there's no shame in that. I think that, you know, some of us have, and I had it for a while, the misconception that if I'm good at the skill of being a chef, right, of being a food person, then I'm good at the skill of business. And those are two completely different skills, right? You know, I think about, you know, if you're familiar with the influencer world at all, some influencers are really good at being influencers, and that's what, but then they have to hire a manager because they're not necessarily good at the business of being an influencer. Does that make sense, right? Like, you know, one of the things that I loved from this book, I can't remember the name of the book. If this sounds familiar to you, if you read this book before, let me know in the comments below. But it talked about that in every business you have 3 roles that need to be fulfilled, right? And those 3 roles are technician, manager, and visionary, right? And that the technician is the person who actually does the thing, right? It is the chef. It is the hairdresser. It is the photographer. It is the videographer. It is the lawnmower person, right? The gardener, right? It is the dog walker or the dog groomer, right? Like, it is the person that decorates the cookies or the cakes, right? Like that there has to be someone who's actually doing the thing. That's the technician, right? And then there has to be somebody who's a great manager who is managing the day-to-day operations of the business. Do you have everything you need? Are deadlines being met? Are you responding to client inquiries, customer calls, right? Bringing in orders, sales, handling returns and exchanges, client questions, things like that, rescheduling, right? Somebody has to manage the day-to-day operations, right? And then you have to have the visionary, and the visionary is all about, like, how do I grow and expand the company, right? Like, where are we going to be in a year? Like, what new products and services are we going to roll out? And I think that a lot of times as chefs, it's like, we are amazing technicians. And maybe we've even grown into being amazing managers. Maybe we've managed before, right? But making that switch into the visionary, the CEO, either if you're like, that's not my jam, you either need to hire somebody to help you with that, or you're going to have to spend a lot of time researching and learning how to do that, right? And so, I think that chefs who are able to charge premium prices and do it with ease, they know where they fall in that hierarchy, and they know what help that they need, right? Like, what I realized is I am a fantastic visionary. I'm a fantastic visionary, right? Not a fan of the management part, right? So that's why, like, in my business, I have help, right? For people to help me with, like, the day-to-day operations and whatever. Like, for example, I tell people all the time, like, if you email me, that's not me emailing you back. It may look like me. It may have my signature in this email signature line. It's not me. It's never me. I have an assistant for that, right? Because that is my least favorite thing, right? But when it comes to being on camera and talking to you guys and sharing this information, being the technician, right? Like I feel like I'm pretty good at this, right? If you've been here before, you might agree, right? So, knowing what you need help with. Some people do not know how to build the business side of their business, and they need help with that, right? And like, that's like my favorite thing. That's what I do with my clients. They are great at what they do. They may even be great at the management part. We talk about the management part, right? But we also talk about the technician part. Like, culinary school helps you master being a technician, right? knife skills, speed, food safety and sanitation, flavor combination, heat, like cooking techniques, all of that helps you master being a great technician so you can go work for somebody else, right? But where do you go where you're like, and they'll even teach you, like food cost and, all and labor costs, things like that, and just in case you get to move into management, right? But being an actual like business owner, that's not what it's designed to do. And so where do you go from that? That's why I'm here, boo. Okay. And one of the things I realized is I never mentioned in my videos that you can apply to work with me and schedule a consultation call. The link is always in the description box. I don't know why I never do that, but listen, my current clients, they take the initiative and they be like, you know what, I'm gonna figure out how to work with her anyway. I've gotten this so far off track today. I've been excited today, but I wanted to share that with you, that those are some of the reasons why certain chefs are able to charge premium prices and others aren't. Is they have the belief that they can. They have this very calm, quiet confidence about it. They're not doing it alone. They are getting some help, some guidance, right? Somebody who has been there before. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, you get no brownie points from learning it the hard way, from trying to learn it from scratch, when people have gone before you and have already figured out how to do it, right? So they invest in themselves that way because they realize that their time is more valuable than anything. They understand that while the quality of whatever they offer is super duper important, it's not the only factor that goes into charging premium prices, and they execute that high-end culinary brand experience consistently, right? So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below, would you consider yourself a good technician, a good manager, or a great CEO of your business? I want to know in the comments below, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.